going to move on to Evan. I'm so happy to hear from you. Hi, Evan.
Hi, Zen. How are you?
I'm
Been a
good. Good
while.
to see you. It has
Yeah,
been.
yeah, you too. You look smiley as ever.
Well, thank you. I had a good morning. I went for a walk with my dog.
Good, good.
Spring is
Um,
coming.
it is very much coming where I am. Very excited about
Yeah.
that. Days are longer and the sun's shining brighter. It's very nice.
Yep. I love it. So, what can I do for you?
So I have I have this man in my life who uh, I hope I don't know the answers to this already, but I'm gonna try anyways. Um, Maybe 2, 3 years ago, I hooked up with him. Um, and we started being friends. And pretty much every time I get together with him, so maybe it's once a week, once every couple of weeks, we meet, go out for lunch, or we go hang out at the pond and hang out and talk. Pretty much most of the time, I I, I say to myself either while we're talking or when I'm done, like, why do I hook up with this guy? Why do I meet with him? Why am I friends with this guy? And so this has been going on for a while, and I started asking myself, well, maybe I'm here to support him, or because he's kind of a lonely guy. He just turned 70. He's a lonely guy. I mean, we connect certain ways. He's kind of on a spiritual path that's very similar to mine, so I can connect. But most of the time, I don't feel good about hanging out with him. And then there's a lot of times where he calls me, he wants to hook up, and I just don't really want to, or I do it anyways. So blah 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 on that. The point is, I I I, I almost don't want to ask my IGS what to do because I don't know how to break up with someone. I mean, as
A
a
friend.
friend,
Yeah.
I don't. I'm too much of a nice guy, and I'm gonna feel guilty and all that other stuff. And I know this, you know, it's none of my
So,
business. So
you said it doesn't feel good being friends with him. Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, most of the time I'm with him. He just the things that comes out of his mouth and the way he talks to me, and there's a little bit of mischief in there, and I don't feel good. Like it's very very rare that I leave. You know, I get together with him and I feel good. Like, oh, he brought something in my life. It's the other way. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen very often in my life where I walk away from someone thinking, why do I hang out with this guy? And I do that most of the time. And so I don't know. Again, it's one of those like,
Well,
is
let's
this
find
my
out.
path? Is this my path? Am I supposed to be learning
I think
something?
you're already getting the answers. You're
Yeah,
not
but
open to hang out with him. Like it doesn't feel opening. There's a closing when you think about there's an obligation, is what I'm hearing. There's obligation,
mhm.
right? And there's not wanting to hurt somebody's feelings,
Yeah,
not wanting to be in conflict.
yeah,
Is that
all
opening? Everything I'm saying, all those things, right? And so it's more about you standing up for what you desire and what you want
right. And
in your life.
that's where it's hard for me because
And that, yeah,
I was one of these guys that I couldn't break up with a girlfriend in the old days, so I would just make them so miserable that they would break up with me because I was too scared to,
yeah.
do it that way. And so it feels similar to that.
Well,
I,
unfortunately, that's something you have to learn how to do. And so even if you run away from this person and make them break up with you as a friend, somebody else will come up that's going to push this point. We're supposed to be able to protect ourselves and to guide our lives in the way that feels the right for us and true for us. And what I do know is if you're feeling this way, it's not healthy for him to be there's somebody else for him to be hanging out with, and he won't go find that person or figure out where he belongs if you're taking up that space. So it's both. And what I've found is, and this is the hardest part, Evan, is you actually do have to say the thing
yeah,
to him.
that just seems so. difficult and not nice.
And it points to the fact that you're really not his friend. Because if he was really your friend and there was something going on, you would take him aside and say, "Hey, man, I'm your friend, and this is really something that's bothering me, and I need to talk to you about it because it's not okay."
So
You, but
is that possibly step one? Because maybe something will come out of that.
yeah, step one is like, I just want to let you know I don't feel great leaving our time together,
Right.
and you need to tell him why. And that may be the role that you have. I've had to do that before with someone. It was very hard for me because I didn't like conflict. Now it's a lot easier for me because I have my internal guidance system and I will open when a hard conversation has to happen. I will open, and I know from years of experience that it always turns out to be the best thing for everybody. That whatever it is that I'm open at saying will come out right. It's not going to be as hard as my mind is making it out to be. And not only that, that the person needs to hear it. They may not react perfectly in the moment, but
Hmm.
over the course of time, it will serve them and it will support them in some way in their life that is needed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the opening to say it. So there would be a different course of action because this really is about harmony. This really is about, it's really interesting because, you've been around for a while and that I'm, moving back into my relationship with God and Christianity and the Holy Spirit, and that I believe that the internal guidance system truly is the Holy Spirit. And
Hmm.
the fruits of the Spirit are patience and kindness and love and forgiveness. I may not have them all right, and self-control. And there's all these fruits, and those are the fruits that come from following your internal guidance system naturally. That the way that it leads you in the openings, those things are produced. So even if it's not in that moment, it there's something that he needs to hear. So if it opens you to have a real one-on-one, this is what's going on for me conversation, one, he may change, which
Hmm.
you probably are like, I don't know if I even want him to change. I just want us to be over.
Uh-huh.
Right. Or it's something he needs to hear so he doesn't do it with somebody else in the future. But there is a role because it keeps coming up. And this has been a couple of years. You brought this up a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't even good in the beginning. It wasn't much better. And everybody around, like my family, all feel they don't feel connected to him. It's almost like he's a little creepy, not my kids and stuff. And I don't totally trust him. I wouldn't leave him in my house by myself. So why am I in this? I keep asking myself, why? This is
Well,
not the
does
kind of
it
relationship I usually have.
does it open you to walk away completely without explanation? As you think about doing that, do you feel open
Um,
or does it cause a closing anxiety?
walk away completely, like without
And just
explanation.
mhm,
Walk away.
mm-mm,
Yeah, I'm not sure if it totally opens me. I got a little,
mm-mm.
no, maybe not. No,
It doesn't.
I got a
I
little
feel
tight.
it. You did. You have to have a conversation.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I kind of knew the answer, but maybe there was. You were going to
You're
tell me.
hoping for a way out. You're hoping for a way out.
No, I think I have to just um, pay more attention to my IGS around this when I'm thinking about it, and even thinking about when I'm going to talk to him. Say, just pay attention. So yeah.
And, I've had these conversations with clients and in my own life go either way. It can open up something that is profound and deep, and there's a transformation, right? Where
Hmm.
the person's like, I've been hearing this my whole life and I don't know what to do. And the conversation turns into something that's actually really rich and good, and it breaks something free and there's a shift. And I've had it go to where the person's upset and come back later and is like, thanks for telling me. I needed to hear that. And other people were feeling the same way, but nobody had the guts to tell me. Um, so whatever is there in the moment as you're going to tell them what's going on, my recommendation is don't end the friendship in the beginning. Don't start it with, hey, I'm not going to be friends with you anymore, because start it
Hmm.
with, um, I'm not really finding that I'm wanting to hang out with you because of these things,
Hmm. And just see where it goes.
and just see where it goes. These are the hard conversations that make a big difference in people's lives.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly feels like there's, yeah, like you said before, it's like it's not the first time it's come up, you know, and so like you know, I can either deal with it now or not until the next time or whenever. So I get that part. So I
And
choose.
another thing that's coming up is, and you got to use your IGS to see what you feel, how you feel, but this is what feels opening to me to tell you is, it feels like it'll happen naturally. Like it could happen where you're just like on the walk around a pond, right?
Hmm.
And he says something and it just hits you like, hey, I need to have a talk about what you just said. This is something that's come up before. And this is a good opportunity for me to like have this conversation with you because it's in the moment and there's a connection point for him as to what's going on versus the talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, as a matter of fact, the last time I hung out with him, which was not that long ago, less than a week, as I was going to meet him, I kind of had a vision like that. Like, if I hook up with him, he's going to insult me about something because sometimes I'm, my knee and my back screwed up, so I walk a little wobbly, and he's like makes a joke about it, and so I was like, if he does that, I'm just going to tell him straight right. Like, what? The fantasy was I'm going to walk up, he's going to insult me, and then I was going to just say, you know what, I'm not hooking up with you for lunch. See you later, and I'm just walk away. That was my actual fantasy. Didn't go that way, but I get it. So
Well,
were connected.
yeah.
We're on to something. So.
And you know what? You can handle it that way. If it opens you, it'll work out. If you're closed with, you know what? I'm not going to hook up with you today. I'm leaving. If that's a closing thing, it won't accomplish anything good. It's
Right.
only in the communication with the opening that it will land because opening begets opening and closing begets closing. So if you really actually want to do right by this person and yourself, the conversation should be slow and you should make sure you're open before you say stuff because then you know that it's the healthiest, best way that you could serve the conversation in the moment. It's in our closings that we just create more wreckage.
Right.
And that's not what anybody needs here.
Hmm.
You're
Yeah.
learning how to do this conversation well. You haven't had it in your lifetime, even though you've had the call for it.
Hmm.
And in learning how to do it well, you don't care about this guy that much. In fact, what's what I'm hearing. So you might as well practice on somebody that you don't care how it lands. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
practice the hard stuff now, and you'll see it's not as scary as you think.
I mean, I do feel. I mean, he's a lonely guy, and he's got some issues, and yeah. So I do. I don't. I want to. I'd like to help him, or I'd like to not hurt him, but it's
But
not
see,
help.
that's the thing is like pitying somebody is not supporting them. Okay. And it doesn't mean that it's your job to do.
Right.
Just because you run across a stray dog doesn't mean you have to bring it home and make it part of your family.
Right.
Right. So the thing is it's like, you know that I believe we have soul family.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just going to talk about it for a minute for people that are listening. Right.
Yeah.
So I think that we come down with a group of people and we're all together to learn from each other. Some of them are enemies and some of them are friends. We pick our family. You know, the way I like to talk about it is if you're in a big city and you're walking through the city, there's all these like ghosts coming by you. There's people you don't even recognize them. And then every once in a while, somebody will come out of the crowd at the city walking down the sidewalk towards you and you totally see them. You get eye contact. There's a recognition. It's like, boom, I recognize you. And you may even think about that person for few minutes. I have a woman in New York that 5 years ago, I saw her walking down the street and we had a moment. She's an older Mexican woman. I don't know if she's Mexican, Hispanic, but I think she was Mexican. And we just had an eye contact nod and I felt something and I still remember her. And it's weird, it's like, huh, how does that happen? Well, I think it's because we have vibrational frequency and we're in family together. If somebody is not supposed to be a part of your soul family, you cannot make it work no matter how much you try. Even if they're blood, even if they're your blood relatives, if they're not part of your journey in this lifetime of what your personal growth is supposed to be about and your intimacy and connection, no matter how many times you feel obligated and like you have to, you should, you need to, you must be in relationship with somebody or help them or do this, it just doesn't work out. It's messy, and it always turns out to be, and that part of it, I believe, is letting those people go so you can be focused on what you need, and not in a cruel, difficult way. It's really about, there's somebody else that they need to have in their life, and there's only 24 hours in a day. There's somebody else they need to have in their life that's actually going to be more a part of their soul journey than you can be. And so you really want to pay attention. Obligation is always closing.
Mm.
And it's the one that gets me in trouble too. It's feeling obligated to somebody. Man, I'm the worst at, if there's a salesperson who spends too much time answering my questions, I will go with them because I don't want to waste their time. And I can tell you, every time I've done that, it's been the worst purchase, or the person that should not be painting my house. I had a gut feeling, but I was like, oh, they've been by twice, and I've changed the bid 4 times. And now I'm going to say no, I'm going to look like a jerk. And then I get in trouble, and we end up in small claims court because the person did a horrible job, right? It's like,
Mm.
that's the way it works. Obligation is always closing, which means don't do it. It should feel opening and right and good. And what I'm hearing from you is, yeah, but he's a lonely guy, and he's got issues, and so nobody loves him, so it's my job to love him. That's not opening,
Yeah. He,
and it
yeah.
won't serve you, and it won't serve him. We only
Yeah.
have enough time for a certain amount of people in our lives, and he won't go seeking. It's like, I used to help people because I could, not because it opened me. And it never turned out because the person wasn't ready for the support, and I wasn't the right support to be giving them. If I had not fixed that problem, they would have been fixed, and it would have been fixed in the way that that was needed, instead of me feeling pity is always closing too. Oh, I'm so sorry you're in this situation. I'll come and help you, and then I get burned.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I think this is a bigger thing for me because I don't like doing any of this. I don't
It
like.
should be opening.
Yeah.
And if it's opening, it won't be painful for you. It'll feel like discernment. It'll feel like you're in your masculine leadership moment.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's the difference between the internal guidance system and using it in these kinds of conversations, and not using your internal guidance system. The fear that you're feeling of hurting his feelings, or looking like a bad guy, or him getting mad and yelling at you, or maybe talking behind your back, or whatever it is that the fear is, it's closing. It's not true. Okay. This is a moment where you get to step up as a man and be a leader in being completely forthright and honest with another man about what is up. Think of it as serving him, not dumping him, not breaking up with him. It may be that you end up not together as friends and doing things anymore, but
Yeah.
you've spent enough time to know, and you're not the only one. You said it's your family, and there's other people. This is a moment where you get to step up and serve him in. This is how you come across. It's one
Right.
of the most loving and powerful things that you can do, is to be kind, open, and honest, and reflect back to somebody the thing that's keeping them from having other people in their life.
Yeah.
Just, it's like, you have to do it in your men's circle. I know that you hang out with men, and you help support each other in being better men, and really looking at the stuff that's going on. That's the role that you should be taking on with this person. And it's sometimes in those men's circles there, you got to be like, dude, you are not stepping up in the way that we know you can. And we're calling you out. And that's more of what this moment is than I'm going to break up with you because you're not the one. That's not what this is about.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I am never brought it to them actually, but
You should.
I don't have these issues with them at all. I can just be I can go right up to someone and say "f you" and we have it out and then it's over. Everyone flaps their wings and we just move on.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's why I'm
yeah,
pointing it out. That's more the energy of it.
yeah,
Everyone, and we don't know what he's going to do. He might flap his wings, and we don't know what the move on is going to look like. But the conversation needs to be had man to man, and it needs to be had in service of him having a better, higher good in his life. Not you just putting up with his crap, and he's still the same person with not, we don't know. He might go and dig deep. That's what happened to the one person that I ended up having this conversation. You know, one of them, he said, I hate you and you're the worst thing and I'm going to ruin your life and I'm going to tell everybody in our community what a piece of garbage you are. And he did, he tried, and everybody took my side. Like, she's right. I feel the same way about you. You treat us all like dirt. You use us, you do this, and I'm kind of sick of being your friend too. And he came back to me about 2 months later and was like, you know what? I want to apologize. I went out there and I did what I said I was going to do, and everybody agrees with you. I'm a jerk. And thank you. I got a lot of work to do. I didn't realize that everybody in the community hates me. I wouldn't have known. And literally everybody was, I just got to the point because I kept trying to help him and he kept shitting on me, excuse my language. And I finally got to a place where he called me up to have him help him with something. And I was like, no, in fact, I actually don't want you in my life ever again. And I had a very opening conversation about who he was. And I did a fundraiser for him because he had a big old issue happen. And he showed up at like 11 o'clock at night, took all the money and left. Didn't even help clean up, didn't help set up, didn't help do anything. And that's the day that I was like, all right, I'm done. He just totally used me. And so my point is later it transformed him. He stopped doing all those things and he kept his community. I didn't choose to be friends with him still because when I really dug in, he wasn't a person that I was in my soul family. There was no connection like you're talking about. He was just in my community. I saw a need, so I tried to help. Um,
Yeah.
my
This
point is, yeah.
I
Go
was going
ahead,
to say,
babe.
Mike, through this conversation, I'm starting to realize that, you know, this is really about me as far as like I don't have time for this anymore. Like I'm at this time in my life where it's like
Yep.
I don't have I don't want to waste time with these kind of things. Like I need to take care of myself and whatever that, however selfish that comes off, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the part that I need to get better. I'd like to get better, stand up. And this is for
So,
me. I need to take care of
yeah,
myself. If he's not supporting my life, I don't have time to mess around and, not worry about it. Just do what I got to do.
let's go back. Does it open you that it's selfish
Does it
to
open me?
cultivate? Yeah. That it's
Well,
selfish, that you're being selfish of taking time, that you don't have time in your life to cultivate relationships that aren't serving you and building you up. Does that open you that it's selfish to do that?
no, it's closing.
It's closing. That means it's not true that it's selfish. Being protective and cultivating your life is an incredibly important thing. It's a very short time we have here. And that's my whole point is there are people that you need to be spending time with that are part of your soul family, that are part of your journey, that you have an impact on, and they will have an impact on you. And you cannot be hanging out with people that are not part of that soul family because it
Yeah,
doesn't work out. It's like Murphy's Law. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And there's nothing being served in that. And part of our growth and our spiritual journey is learning how to cut the wheat from the chaff, is like
yeah,
learning how to keep the gold and get rid of the stuff that's not and focus on what's true. And it's an incredibly important skill to learn. And you've been trying to learn this from what I'm hearing for a while. Like even when you found out
yeah,
there was a woman that you were dating that wasn't the right woman, instead of cutting her loose so she can go find her man and you
yeah,
continuing on your journey, the fear of looking bad, her hurting you, being angry, all of that kept you from doing what you needed to do
yep,
and step up for yourself in what you know to be true, that she wasn't the one. So
yeah,
here we are again. He's not the one. And it's part of this is what you're here to learn and
yeah,
do well. Have this conversation well and don't
yeah,
feel guilty about it. Guilt is always closing. Remember, guilt always is whether it's a false belief about what makes you a good or a bad person. Don't feel guilty. Stick to your truth. It opens you and have the hard conversation into the opening. You'll be fine.
yeah. I'm sure I will.
And when you leave the conversation, keep using your IGS because your mind may come up with, oh, he got mad or he was upset or I hope I didn't hurt his feelings. Check your IGS. Because when I started learning how to have these conversations, I would leave and be all, oh no, did I do this? Oh God. And I'd be like, oh, I'm closed. Anytime you do this, you're closed. So it's like, and I'd be like, no, that was the right conversation. I could take a stand and know that I had the right conversation because it would open me still even after. So don't let
Yeah,
your head noise
yeah.
wreck you
No,
after it's over.
I'm intuitive enough to know the difference when that would happen. So
Good.
I trust myself on that one.
Good. You look good.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while. I lost
I
track. So
know.
all this transition. So
All the new community and everything. I know. But I'm back. We'll be doing more and more and more of these.
yep.
And super happy
Okay.
to have you. All right, darling. Thank you. I
Thank
want to
you.
hear report back in. You
I
got my
will.
number.
Thanks.
Okay. All righty, everybody. All right, so that's our show for today. I want to just let you know if you're interested in learning how to really use your internal guidance system, tapping into divine intelligence to be able to work through the things in your life that are hard and challenging. If you want the like I said, kind of like AI has prompts, your internal guidance system has prompts, and I've spent years decoding them on what to do when you have irritation, guilt, when you're frustrated, when you're in fear, worry, when you're having lack issues with finances, whatever it is that's coming up that's causing suffering. There is a way to shift your thinking to get the opening and get back on track to where you're going to be successful, happy, and filled with joy. If you want to learn how to do that, you can go to BeFearFreeNow.com, BeFearFreeNow.com. There we have a membership. It's a monthly membership. There's 2 levels. You can pick one, and the first 14-day trial is free. We do not even charge you till you go through the first 14 days, and that is where you get the first 14 prompts. You heard me talking about that with Caitlin earlier. She's going through it, and then you can decide whether you want to move forward with your membership or not. But at least jump in and get the first 5 or 6 days under your belt so you can find out what this internal guidance system that is part of you. You were born with it. Anytime you feel worry, anxiety, overwhelm, fear, frustration, irritation, procrastination, impatience, defensiveness, doubt, mistrust, I can go on and on about all these closing things. Anytime you feel that, you're already feeling your internal guidance system. It's giving you information to correct what you're thinking in that moment. Don't go another day with all those sensations and not knowing what to do with them. Don't go another day without getting yourself back on track into where you're going to be successful. Dive into the Fear Free Human Collective, get your prompts, get yourself knowing how to work with this, and have your life work out for you. Anyways, I'm sending you love and blessings. I hope you have an amazing day. Mwah! Bye for now. I'll see you again soon.